It is so crowded in here, it's almost unenjoyable. You constantly have to avoid people. You can't get any pictures. You can't get any video. If you're gonna come here, you're gonna need some mighty thick skin.
All right, guys, this is on what not to do when you go to Paris, France, and it's visiting Chateau Versailles, or as some people call the Palace at Versailles. Now, the main part of Paris is located here, and Versailles is located way over here to the west. And if you want to go out there, you're going to have to take a train, not a metro. You have to take a regular commuter's train. Now, you'll know the difference between the metro and the commuter's train by this little symbol here, and it'll also be on the train itself. All right, the first thing you need to know is Versailles is huge. This place is just unbelievably large. It will take you several days to see everything. So if you do decide to come, you might as well just go ahead and give in and realize you're not going to see everything. It's not going to happen. All right, if you come into Versailles, you really don't need to buy your tickets in advance because we got here early and we had no real problems buying our tickets right here at this location. This is where your wait's going to be trying to get through security.
That's where you get your tickets. That is the entrance for security to enter Versailles.
And as you can see, even getting here about 30 minutes prior to opening, and there was a huge line. And within a short amount of time, it got even longer. So be prepared if you get there a little late.
9:30. I got in relatively easy, even with a little small hiccup of not having tickets.
One of the first few things you're going to see is these little models of the chateau and what it looks like now or what it used to look like as it was being built, because this wasn't built as one complete structure. It was built in a series of structures over a long period of time. And if you want to know more about that, they show a video as well. Now, I skipped the video because you can watch this same video on YouTube. So all you need to do is look up Chateau de Versailles, and they have all sorts of videos on the history of the house, and it's pretty interesting. I suggest if you're going to go, watch them before you get there. Now, the first cool thing you're going to see is the St. Louis Cathedral, and this place is pretty neat. Now, there is a lower level where you can't really see too much other than the altar, and then there's the upper level. The upper level is much better because then you can see all this beautiful artwork that's on the ceiling. Now, unfortunately, your views of this cathedral is going to be limited.
Bunch of crowds of everyone trying to get in to photograph or see this one room. Everybody holding their phones up, jockeying for position, waiting their turn.
Now, this is the thing you better get ready for. Lots of crowds, lots of lines.
So why is there a huge crowd jammed into this door trying to make it into this room? No clue. It's just another room, and this is where the crowd's got to go if you want to see this palace. You just got to deal with it.
Now, guys, I apologize. I really wanted to get some good video of some of these rooms that you go through, but it's just impossible. I mean, the easiest thing to shoot is a roof because nobody's in your way. So I threw some still shots in here to give you a better representation of what some of these rooms look like, because they are very beautiful. Now, you're going to be walking from room to room, and only a small portion of the room is dedicated as a walkway. So the vast majority of it is just that, and only a small portion of the rooms can be seen. Now, when you get away from these bedrooms, you go to these big open rooms with these huge works of art. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can only imagine how much more I would enjoy this had it be a little less crowded in here. I mean, the art is beautiful. So if you love art, you'll love Versailles. Now, this is one of the most talked about rooms in Versailles, and it's the Hall of Mirrors. And let me just tell you, there's nothing fantastic about this room. As you can see how crowded it is. Everybody's holding their hands up like, hey, I'm in this big mob of people over here. Yes, there's artwork on the ceiling, and it's beautiful to look at. But the mirrors are terrible.
Crappy mirrors.
Yeah, it's faded old mirror.
As you can see, people have written all over it. It's really hazy. It's really not that great to look at. As you get further along in the tour, you'll notice that the crowd starts to thin out. And this is when you're going to start to enjoy the palace. And eventually you're going to make your way outside into the gardens. And this is an area where a lot of people, including myself, really enjoyed the most, because I enjoyed all the sculpture and all the water fountains that are just spread all across this huge area. Now, if the fountains are the thing that you want to see, well, you don't have to venture too far, as they're all located just behind the backside of the palace. Now, sometimes when you come, the fountains might be on, they may be off, they may be doing maintenance, so be prepared that you might not see everything that you wanted to see. Now, one of the things Versailles promotes is their fountain water show. And let me just tell you, if you want to see a really good show, you don't want to see this one because there's not much of a show to begin with. Yeah, they have some music, but big whoop. You want to see a real show? Go to Las Vegas. You'll see a real show. Now, besides the gardens and the main palace, there are other areas to visit, like Grand Canyon. Now, when you come out here, hardly any crowds. On the downside is the grandness of the palace doesn't really exist. Yes, there's some artwork. Yes, there's beautiful furniture, tapestries and whatnot, but just the grandness isn't really there. It's more like a country home in a sense. Now, one of the areas I truly enjoy was Hamlet de la Reine, and this is Marie Antoinette's Hamlet. It was built in 1783. Now, this was her refuge, and it was built as a fully functioning farm, and this is just an area for her to get away from things. Now, if you want to get out there, it's a little bit of a walk. It's about a 30-minute walk from the main palace. And you need to be careful walking through there because you can get lost if you don't know where you're going. Now, when you get back here, it kind of looks like a petting zoo. It's not, first off. They just have a few animals out here to just kind of make it look the part.
What you doing, huh?
Now, the disappointing part about this area is the buildings are really old and they're falling apart, literally. You also can't tour any of them. Now, you want to make sure you're rested up for that 30-minute hike back to the main house. Now, let me show you something that I missed out on because I didn't do my research before I visited. And this is the royal stables. And when you come here, you see these very ornate coaches used during the 1800s. Now, the stables are located right here. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to walk right past it. And it's really away from the main part of the palace and the grounds, so it's easily to overlook. Now, I told you how long some of these walks can be to get you around the grounds. Well, there are easier ways to get around. For one, you can take the train. Now, the train costs $7.50 in euros, and you have unlimited on and off privileges for the day. Now, the second way to go is by renting a golf cart for 32 euros per hour, which is ridiculous. Unless you're with someone who's handicapped and you're really rich, yeah, you can kind of scratch that one off your list. Another cool way you can get around is by renting a bike for 7.50 euro an hour, or you can rent for a half day for 17 euro. Now, for some fun transportation, although you can't get around the whole grounds, is rent a boat for 13 euros for a half hour or 17 euros for a full hour. Now, there's plenty of places to eat around the grounds, and just like any other tourist destination, it's typical tourist food that is typically overpriced. Now, I normally list hours of operation and ticket prices whenever I do these reviews. For Versailles, the options are all over the place and it's just too difficult for me to list. So you need to go to their website and do some research so you know when you can go and figure out what kind of ticket you want. But the basic ticket right now is 20 euros.
Okay, people, if you want to go to Chateau Versailles, there's a few things you need to know. Number one, everything I've read keeps talking about how whenever you get here to see certain parts before other parts in order to avoid the crowd. Well, let me just tell you, for the most part, that is hogwash. It is not true. It doesn't matter if you get here when this place first opens or right before it closes, you're gonna get in a huge crowd. When you first get into the chateau, It is going to be wall-to-wall people. Number two, it's not that great anyway. You're going to do a lot of walking, and I mean a lot of walking. My advice to you, if you want to come see the Chateau Versailles, get here first thing in the morning, about an hour prior to it opening. Go see all the rooms in the palace and quickly get out to the back to see the other areas where there's a lot less crowds. You'll enjoy it a little bit better, but not by much. You're gonna be tired, you're gonna be wore out. Give yourself one full day to see Versailles.